morning sun shone through the large windows of First National Bank. Marcus Chen sat at his desk near the back of the building. He liked that spot. It made him feel important. From there he could see everyone who walked into the bank. Marcus had worked at this bank for 12 years. He started as a simple clerk when he was 23 years old. Now he was 35 and a senior bank employee. He handled the important customers. At least that is what he told himself. His desk was neat and organized. Everything had its place. His nameplate said Marcus Chen, Senior Relationship Manager, in gold letters. He was proud of that title. He had worked hard to get it. But somewhere along the way, Marcus had changed. Success had made him forget where he came from. The bank was busy that Tuesday morning. People came and went. Tellers helped customers cash checks and make deposits. Other employees worked at their desks. Everything seemed normal. Marcus looked at his computer screen. He was checking the account of one of his wealthy clients. Mr. Thompson owned 3 businesses in the city. Marcus always made time for people like Mr. Thompson. They had money. They made Marcus look good. The front door opened. Marcus glanced up out of habit. A young woman walked in. She looked to be in her late 20s. She wore jeans and a simple hoodie. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She carried an old backpack over one shoulder. Marcus looked back at his computer. He did not think she was important. He had learned to judge people quickly. Or so he thought. Young people in casual clothes usually just needed basic services. They could talk to the tellers. The young woman looked around the bank. She seemed to be searching for someone specific. Her eyes moved past the teller windows. She walked toward the desks in the back where the relationship managers sat. She stopped at Marcus's desk. He did not look up right away. He kept typing on his keyboard. After a few seconds, he glanced at her. "Can I help you?" Marcus asked. His tone was not friendly. It was not rude either. It was just flat, empty of real interest. "Yes, I hope so," the young woman said. Her voice was calm and professional. "My name is Amara Williams. I would like to talk about opening a business account. I also need information about commercial loans." Marcus finally looked at her properly. He saw her casual clothes. He saw her young face. He saw her worn backpack. In his mind, he made a quick judgment. She did not look like a serious business owner. "A business account?" Marcus said. He tried to hide his doubt, but did not succeed. "What kind of business do you run?" "I am a consultant," Amara said. "I work with companies on management and operations. I'm expanding my services and need proper banking support." Marcus leaned back in his chair. He crossed his arms. "I see. Well, business accounts require significant deposits and ongoing activity. They also come with fees. Have you looked into our basic checking accounts? That might be a better place to start." Amara's expression did not change. She remained calm. "I understand what business accounts require. I have done my research. I need to discuss my specific needs with someone who handles commercial banking." Marcus felt annoyed. Why was she pushing this? He dealt with real business owners every day. People who wore suits. People who came in with briefcases full of papers. People who looked the part. "Look," Marcus said, his voice taking on a condescending tone. "I appreciate your interest. But business banking is complex. You need to have your finances in order first. Maybe work on building your credit. Save some money. Then come back in a year or 2 when you are ready." Amara stood very still. She looked directly at Marcus. Her eyes were sharp, intelligent. But Marcus did not notice. He was too busy making assumptions. "I have excellent credit," Amara said quietly. "I have significant capital to deposit. I have a solid business plan. I just need someone to discuss the options available." Marcus waved his hand dismissively. "That is great, really. But I handle established business clients. You should start with one of our junior associates. They can help you with the basics." He pointed toward the front of the bank where younger employees sat at smaller desks. "I do not need help with basics," Amara said. Her voice was still calm, but there was something underneath it. Something Marcus should have noticed but did not. "I need someone who understands commercial banking products." Marcus sighed. He was losing patience. He had important work to do. He did not have time for this. "Listen, miss," he said. "Everyone thinks they are ready for business banking. But there is a process. You need to work your way up. Start with a regular account. Show us you can manage your finances. Then we can talk about business services." Across the room, another employee named James Park looked over. He had been listening. He felt uncomfortable. This was not the first time he had seen Marcus treat someone this way. James wanted to say something, but he needed his job. He had a family to support, so he stayed quiet and looked back at his own computer. Patricia Donovan, the branch manager, was in her office. She did not see what was happening. If she had, she might have stepped in. But her door was closed. She was on a phone call. Amara took a slow breath. She looked at Marcus for a long moment. Then she smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was the kind of smile that said she knew something he did not. "Thank you for your time," Amara said. She said it politely, but there was an edge to her words. "You have been very clear about your priorities." Marcus nodded. "No problem. Like I said, talk to one of the associates up front. They will get you started." Amara turned and walked away. She did not go to the front desks. She walked straight to the door. As she left the bank, she pulled out her phone. She made a call. Marcus watched her go. Then he turned back to his computer. He shook his head. "Some people," he muttered to himself. James looked over again. He had a bad feeling about what just happened, but he could not explain why. He just knew that Marcus had made a mistake. A big one. At the desk next to Marcus, a young employee named Sarah had also witnessed the interaction. She looked at Marcus with disappointment. Sarah had only worked at the bank for 6 months. She was still learning. But even she knew that what Marcus did was wrong. You were supposed to help everyone. That is what they taught in training. But Sarah had also learned something else in 6 months. She had learned that Marcus was powerful at this branch. He brought in big clients. Management liked his numbers. If you disagreed with Marcus, you kept it to yourself. Marcus went back to his work. He checked Mr. Thompson's account again. He sent an email to another wealthy client. He scheduled a lunch meeting with a business owner who wanted a large loan. The rest of the morning passed normally. Customers came and went. Marcus helped the ones he thought were worth his time. He directed others to different employees. He did not think about the young woman in the hoodie. He did not think about Amara Williams. To him, she was just another person who wasted his time. Another person who did not understand how banking really worked. But outside the bank, Amara sat in her car. She looked at the building. She thought about what just happened. She thought about Marcus Chen and his dismissive attitude. She thought about how he judged her based on her appearance. Amara was not angry. She was disappointed. She had hoped things would be different. But she had seen this before. She knew how some people operated. She also knew something that Marcus did not know, something that would change everything. But that would come later. For now, she drove away. She had other things to do. Important things. Things that Marcus Chen could not even imagine. Inside the bank, Marcus finished his work for the day. He had no idea that his entire career was about to change. He had no idea that the young woman he dismissed would soon become the most important person in his professional life. He packed his briefcase. He said goodbye to his coworkers. He walked out of the bank feeling satisfied with himself. He had handled another day successfully, or so he thought. The sun was setting as Marcus drove home. He thought about his plans for tomorrow. He had meetings with important clients. He had deals to close. He had his reputation to maintain. He did not think about Amara Williams at all. That was his biggest mistake. Marcus Chen did not start out as an arrogant person. 12 years ago, he was different. He was hungry to succeed. He was kind to everyone. He wanted to help people. When Marcus first joined First National Bank, he was 23 years old. He had just graduated from college. He was excited to have a real job. He wore his best suit on his first day. His mother had helped him pick it out. Back then, Marcus worked as a teller. He stood at the window all day. He helped customers deposit checks. He counted money carefully. He smiled at everyone who came to his window. It did not matter if they were rich or poor. It did not matter what they wore. Marcus treated everyone the same. His supervisor back then was a woman named Helen Rodriguez. Helen was kind but strict. She taught Marcus everything about banking. She taught him about customer service too. "Remember, Marcus," Helen used to say, "every person who walks through that door is important. You never know someone's full story just by looking at them. Treat everyone with respect." Marcus remembered those words. At least he used to remember them. But that was a long time ago. Things changed. Marcus changed. After 2 years as a teller, Marcus got promoted. He became a personal banker. He got his own desk. He could wear different colored shirts now, not just the teller uniform. He felt proud. Marcus worked hard at his new job. He stayed late. He studied banking products. He learned about loans and investments. He wanted to move up. He wanted to be successful, and he was successful. After 3 years as a personal banker, he became a relationship manager. That was a big promotion. Relationship managers handled business accounts. They worked with wealthy clients. They made more money. That is when things started to change. Marcus began to notice that some customers were more valuable than others. The bank measured success by numbers. Big accounts meant big bonuses. Small accounts did not matter as much. Marcus started to focus on the big accounts. He spent more time with wealthy customers. He took them to lunch. He remembered their birthdays. He made them feel special, and it worked. His numbers grew. His bosses noticed. They praised him. But while Marcus focused on the wealthy customers, he spent less time with everyone else. Regular people with small accounts did not get his attention anymore. He passed them to other employees. He said he was too busy. He said he had to focus on important clients. At first, Marcus felt a little guilty. He remembered Helen's words about treating everyone with respect. But his guilt faded over time. He told himself he was just being practical. He told himself this was how business worked. 5 years ago, Marcus became a senior relationship manager. That was the highest position below branch manager. He was proud. His parents were proud. He made good money. He had a nice car. He bought a condo in a good neighborhood. But success changed Marcus in ways he did not notice. He started to judge people quickly. He looked at their clothes. He looked at their age. He looked at their appearance. Based on these things, he decided who was worth his time. If someone walked in wearing an expensive suit, Marcus paid attention. If someone walked in wearing casual clothes, Marcus barely looked up. He had created a system in his mind, a way to sort people into categories: important people, unimportant people. Other employees at the bank noticed Marcus's behavior. Some of them did not like it, but Marcus got results. He brought in big accounts. The branch manager, Patricia Donovan, saw his sales numbers. Those numbers were good. Very good. Patricia had been the branch manager for 3 years. She was a smart woman. She cared about the bank. She cared about customers too. But she also had pressure from her bosses. They wanted good numbers. They wanted growth. Patricia had received complaints about Marcus before. Customers said he was rude. They said he ignored them. They said he made them feel small. Patricia talked to Marcus about these complaints. She told him to be more careful, to be more respectful. Marcus always apologized. He always said he would do better. But nothing really changed. He just became more careful about who saw his behavior. He was polite when Patricia was watching. But when she was busy, Marcus went back to his old ways. James Park had worked with Marcus for 4 years. James was a relationship manager too. He was 2 years younger than Marcus. James was a quiet person. He did not like conflict. James had seen Marcus dismiss many customers over the years. Young people, older people, people of color, people who dressed casually. If they did not look wealthy, Marcus did not give them a chance. James disagreed with this approach. He believed everyone deserved good service. But James never said anything to Marcus. He never reported the behavior to Patricia. He told himself it was not his business. He told himself he needed to focus on his own work. But the truth was that James was afraid. Marcus was powerful at the branch. He had influence. He had important clients. If James complained about Marcus, it might hurt his own career. So James stayed quiet. He helped the customers Marcus rejected. He tried to make up for Marcus's rudeness. But he never directly challenged his colleague. There was a young woman named Sarah Kim who worked at the bank too. She had been there for only 6 months. She was training to be a personal banker. Sarah was 24 years old. She was enthusiastic about her job. When Sarah first started, Marcus was assigned to train her. He taught her about banking products. He taught her about sales techniques. He also taught her his way of evaluating customers. You have to be smart about your time, Marcus told Sarah one day. Not every customer is worth the effort. Focus on the ones who have money. the ones who can bring you business. Sarah felt uncomfortable with this advice. It did not match what she learned in her official training. The bank's training program said to treat all customers equally. It said to never judge someone by their appearance. But Marcus laughed at the official training. That is just what they have to say, he told Sarah. In the real world, you need to be practical. You need to make your numbers. Focus on the winners. Let other people handle the rest. Sarah did not know what to do. Marcus was her mentor. He was successful. Maybe he knew something the training program did not teach, but it still felt wrong. Other employees had mixed feelings about Marcus too. Some admired his success. They saw his sales numbers. They saw his nice car. They wanted to be like him, so they copied his methods. They started judging customers too, but other employees disliked Marcus. They thought he was arrogant. They thought he gave the bank a bad reputation. They wished someone would do something about his behavior. The problem was that Marcus's methods worked, at least in the short term. He did bring in wealthy clients. He did close big deals. His portfolio looked impressive on paper, but what the bank did not see were the opportunities Marcus missed. The young entrepreneur he turned away who took her business to another bank. The immigrant family he dismissed who later became successful. The college student he ignored who graduated and never came back. Marcus only saw what was in front of him. He did not see the long-term damage he was causing. He did not see how his behavior affected the bank's reputation in the community. He did not see how other employees were learning from his bad example. The neighborhood around the bank was diverse. There were people from many different backgrounds. Young professionals, immigrant families, college students, small business owners. They all needed banking services, but many of these people did not feel welcome at First National Bank. They felt judged. They felt dismissed. So they went to other banks, banks where they felt respected, banks where people listened to them. The branch's community engagement numbers were low. Customer satisfaction scores were average at best. But the branch hit its sales targets, so management did not look too closely at the problems. Patricia knew something was wrong. She could feel it. But she was busy. She had her own pressures. Her bosses wanted results. She had 15 employees to manage. She had reports to write. She had meetings to attend. She told herself she would address the culture issues eventually. She would have a serious talk with Marcus. She would implement better training. But there was always something more urgent to handle. So the problems continued. Meanwhile, at the regional office, people were starting to notice. Customer complaints were adding up. The branch's reputation was declining. Other banks in the area were growing faster. The regional director decided something needed to change. The company needed fresh leadership. Someone who understood modern banking. Someone who valued all customers. Someone who could fix the culture problems. They searched for months. They interviewed many candidates. Finally, they found the right person. Someone young but experienced. Someone smart and fair. Someone who had turned around struggling branches before. Her name was Amara Williams. She was only 28 years old, but she had an impressive record. She had worked for major banks. She had a degree in business management. She had a reputation for being tough but fair. But before Amara officially started her new job, she decided to do something unusual. She wanted to visit the branches without anyone knowing who she was. She wanted to see how they really operated. She wanted to see how they treated regular customers. She started with the downtown branch, Patricia Donovan's branch, Marcus Chen's branch. Amara dressed casually. She looked. 1 week had passed since Amara Williams walked into the bank. Marcus had already forgotten about her. He went back to his normal routine. He helped his important clients. He ignored everyone else. Life continued as usual, but things were happening that Marcus did not know about. At the regional office, plans were being made. Amara Williams had officially started her new position. She was now the regional manager for 15 bank branches. She had power over all of them. On Monday morning, Patricia Donovan called an emergency staff meeting. Everyone had to attend. Tellers, personal bankers, relationship managers, everyone. The meeting was scheduled for 9 o'clock. Marcus arrived at work at 8:30. He saw the email about the meeting. He wondered what it was about. Emergency meetings usually meant bad news. Maybe someone was getting fired. Maybe the branch was in trouble. Other employees gathered in the break room. They whispered to each other. They were nervous. Sarah Kim looked especially worried. She was still new. She thought maybe she had done something wrong. James Park stood by the coffee machine. He had a feeling this meeting was important. He just did not know why. At exactly 9 o'clock, Patricia walked into the break room. She looked serious, but also a bit excited. Everyone became quiet. They waited to hear what she had to say. "Good morning, everyone," Patricia began. "Thank you for coming. I have important news to share with you all." Marcus leaned against the wall. He crossed his arms. He just wanted this meeting to be over. He had work to do. "As you all know," Patricia continued, "our previous regional manager retired last month. The position has been empty while the company searched for a replacement." Everyone nodded. They knew this already. The regional manager was an important position. That person oversaw 15 branches in the area. They had a lot of power. "Well, the company has found someone," Patricia said. "We have a new regional manager, and I think you will all be very impressed." Patricia smiled. She seemed genuinely happy about this news. That was unusual. Patricia was usually stressed. "Our new regional manager is young," Patricia continued. "She is only 28 years old, but she has an incredible record. She has worked for some of the biggest banks in the country. She has turned around struggling branches. She has won awards for customer service and innovation." Marcus felt skeptical. 28 years old? How could someone so young be qualified for such an important job? He had been working in banking longer than that. He was 35. He had more experience. This did not seem right. "Her name is Amara Williams," Patricia said. "She will be starting immediately. In fact, she has already started. And she has decided to visit our branch first." A murmur went through the room. Everyone started talking at once. Patricia raised her hand for silence. "Ms. Williams will be spending an entire week here," Patricia explained. "She wants to observe our operations. She wants to meet with each of you individually. She wants to understand how our branch works." Marcus did not like this. A whole week of someone watching over his shoulder? Someone evaluating his work? This was annoying. He did not need supervision. He knew what he was doing. "Why is she coming here first?" someone asked. Patricia hesitated before answering. "She wants to start with our branch because we are in an important location. We serve a diverse community. She wants to see how we handle that." That was not the complete truth. The real reason was that Amara had concerns about this branch. She had seen the customer complaint numbers. She had noticed the low community engagement scores. But Patricia did not want to tell the staff that. "Not yet. When is she coming?" Sarah asked nervously. "Wednesday," Patricia said. "Day after tomorrow. So we have one day to prepare." Everyone started talking again. Some people were excited. Some were nervous. Marcus was just annoyed. "I want everyone on their best behavior," Patricia said firmly. "This is our chance to make a good impression. Ms. Williams will decide the future direction of our branch. She will make recommendations about staffing, procedures, everything." Now people looked really worried. Recommendations about staffing meant she could fire people. She could promote people. She could change everything. "I expect all of you to cooperate fully with Ms. Williams," Patricia continued. "Answer her questions honestly. Show her how you work. Be professional." Marcus made a face. He did not like being told what to do. He was a senior employee. He did not need to impress some 28-year-old who probably got the job through connections. "She is particularly interested in our customer service practices," Patricia added. "She wants to understand how we evaluate potential clients, how we decide who gets what services, how we engage with the community." James Park glanced at Marcus when Patricia said this. He had a feeling this was going to be a problem. Marcus's customer service practices were questionable at best. "I have sent each of you an email with your scheduled interview time," Patricia said. "Ms. Williams wants to speak with everyone individually. Please be on time for your appointment." The meeting ended. People filed out of the break room. They went back to their desks. But the atmosphere had changed. Everyone was tense. Everyone was worried about the visit. Marcus sat at his desk. He checked his email. His interview with the new regional manager was scheduled for Thursday afternoon. He had 2 days before that meeting. Marcus started to prepare. He printed out reports of his sales numbers. He made a list of his important clients. He wanted to show this Amara Williams how valuable he was. He wanted to prove that his methods worked. "Did you hear how young she is?" Marcus said to James, 28 years old, unbelievable. James did not respond. He just nodded and looked at his computer. I have been working in banking for 12 years, Marcus continued. I know more about this business than some kid fresh out of business school. She probably has experience, James said quietly. Patricia said she turned around struggling branches. Marcus waved his hand dismissively. Anyone can look good on paper. Let's see if she actually knows anything about real banking. Sarah Kim overheard this conversation. She felt defensive of the new regional manager. Sarah thought it was impressive that a woman so young had achieved so much. She wished Marcus would be more respectful. The next day, Tuesday, the bank was busy preparing for the visit. Patricia had everyone clean their work areas. She reviewed procedures with the staff. She reminded everyone about proper customer service protocols. Marcus found all of this annoying. He did not change anything about how he worked. He helped his wealthy clients as usual. He dismissed other customers as usual. He did not think he needed to change. His numbers were good. That was all that mattered. But Patricia specifically called Marcus into her office that afternoon. She closed the door. She looked at him seriously. Marcus, I need to talk to you, Patricia said. Sure, what is it? Marcus asked. He felt confident. He thought maybe Patricia wanted to ask him to give the new regional manager a tour or something. I need you to be very careful this week, Patricia said. Very careful. Marcus looked confused. What do you mean? I mean your customer service approach, Patricia said carefully. You know there have been complaints. Marcus felt defensive. My numbers are excellent. I bring in more business than anyone else here. I know, Patricia said. And I appreciate that. But Ms. Williams is going to be watching everything. How we treat customers. How we engage with the community. All of it. I treat customers fine, Marcus said. I just focus on the ones who matter, Patricia sighed. That is exactly what I am talking about, Marcus. All customers matter. Not just the wealthy ones. Marcus wanted to argue, but he held back. Fine, I will be extra polite this week. Please do, Patricia said. This visit is very important. For the branch. For all of us. Marcus left Patricia's office feeling irritated. Why was everyone so worried about this new regional manager? She was just one person. She could not change everything. The bank cared about numbers, and his numbers were great. That night, Marcus went home and tried not to think about it. He would just do his job. He would show his sales reports. Everything would be fine. But Tuesday night, Patricia could not sleep. She was worried. She knew Marcus could be a problem. She knew his approach was questionable. But she had never done anything about it because his numbers were good. Now she worried that decision might come back to hurt her. Sarah Kim spent Tuesday evening reading about Amara Williams online. She found articles about her work. She found interviews. Sarah was impressed. Amara Williams seemed smart and fair. She seemed to really care about good customer service. James Park also could not stop thinking about the visit. He kept remembering all the times he had seen Marcus dismiss customers. He kept thinking about whether he should say something during his interview. But he was afraid. What if Marcus found out? What if it hurt his own career? Wednesday morning arrived. The day of Amara Williams's first visit. Everyone arrived at work early. The branch was spotless. Everyone was dressed professionally. Everyone was nervous. Marcus wore his best suit. He had prepared a presentation about his client portfolio. He had practiced what he would say. He felt ready to impress the new regional manager. Patricia walked to the front door. She opened it. She put on her best professional smile. A young woman stepped out of the car. She wore Marcus stood frozen at his desk. His mouth went dry. His hand started to shake slightly. He could not believe what he was seeing. The young woman in the hoodie was back. But now she wore a business suit. Now she was the regional manager. Amara walked through the bank with Patricia. She looked calm and professional. If she noticed Marcus's shocked expression, she did not show it. She kept her face neutral. Patricia introduced Amara to each employee. She started at the front with the tellers. Amara shook hands with each person. She smiled. She asked their names. She seemed genuinely interested in meeting everyone. Marcus watched all of this from his desk. His mind was racing. Did she recognize him? Of course she did. How could she forget? He had been so rude to her. So dismissive. And now she was his boss. Marcus tried to think. Should he apologize right away? Should he pretend nothing happened? Should he leave before she got to him? No, he could not leave. That would make things worse. He had to stay. He had to face this. James Park stood near his desk. He watched Marcus's face turn pale. James did not understand why Marcus looked so scared. Then James looked at Amara Williams more carefully. He thought she looked familiar too. Had she been in the bank before? Sarah Kim was excited to meet the new regional manager. She stood up straight when Patricia and Amara approached her desk. Amara shook her hand warmly. "Sarah Kim," Amara said, reading the nameplate. "How long have you been with the bank?" "6 months, ma'am," Sarah said nervously. "Please call me Amara," she said with a kind smile. "What do you like most about working here?" Sarah relaxed a little. "I like helping customers. I like learning about banking." "That is excellent," Amara said. "Customer service is the heart of our business. Never forget that." Patricia and Amara moved on. They talked to other employees. Everyone was nervous, but Amara put them at ease. She was friendly. She asked good questions. She listened carefully to the answers. Then they reached the relationship managers in the back. They reached Marcus's area. Marcus stood up quickly. Too quickly. He almost knocked his coffee over. "This is Marcus Chen," Patricia said. "One of our senior relationship managers. Marcus has been with us for 12 years. Amara extended her hand. She looked directly at Marcus. Their eyes met. In that moment, Marcus knew for certain that she remembered him. She knew exactly who he was. "Mr. Chen?" Amara said. Her voice was professional. Not warm but not cold either. "It is good to meet you." Marcus shook her hand. His palm was sweaty. "Ms. Williams, welcome to our branch." Amara held his gaze for just a moment longer than necessary. Then she moved on. She met James Park next. She met the other relationship managers. She completed her tour of the branch. Marcus sat back down. His heart was pounding. His worst fear had come true. The person he had insulted was now his boss. What would she do? Would she fire him immediately? Would she humiliate him in front of everyone? After the tour, Amara and Patricia went into Patricia's office. They closed the door. The staff went back to work. But everyone was talking quietly about the new regional manager. Most people liked her. She seemed fair and professional. Marcus could not focus on his work. He stared at his computer screen but saw nothing. His mind kept replaying the moment he had dismissed Amara, how rude he had been, how he had assumed she was not important, how wrong he had been. James came over to Marcus's desk. He spoke quietly. "Are you okay? You look sick." Marcus looked up at James. He wanted to tell someone what had happened, but he felt too ashamed. "I am fine," Marcus lied. "Just tired." James did not believe him, but he did not push. He went back to his own desk. In Patricia's office, Amara was explaining her plan. She sat across from Patricia's desk. She opened her briefcase and took out a folder. "I want to spend this week really understanding how this branch operates," Amara said. "I will be observing everyone. I will be reviewing files. I will be conducting individual interviews." Patricia nodded. "Of course, whatever you need." "I am particularly interested in your customer service practices," Amara continued. "How do your employees evaluate potential clients? What training do they receive? How do you measure customer satisfaction?" Patricia felt nervous. These were the areas where her branch struggled. "We follow all corporate policies," she said carefully. "I am sure you do," Amara said. "But policies on paper are different from practice. I want to see how things really work." Amara pulled out some papers from her folder. They were customer complaint reports. Patricia recognized them immediately. "Your branch has received several complaints over the past year," Amara said. "Customers saying they felt dismissed. Customers saying they were treated differently based on their appearance. Customers saying employees made assumptions about them." Patricia's face reddened. "We have addressed those complaints. We have talked to the staff." "I know," Amara said. "I read your responses. But the complaints continue. That suggests the problem is not being fully addressed." Patricia did not know what to say. Amara was right. The complaints did continue, and Patricia knew that Marcus was often the source of those complaints. But his sales numbers were so good, she had not wanted to rock the boat. "I want to review those complaint files in detail," Amara said. "I want to see if there are patterns. I want to understand what is really happening." "Of course," Patricia said. "I will have them ready for you." Amara closed her folder. One more thing. I want to do some testing. Testing? Patricia asked. Yes, Amara said. I am going to have people come into the branch. Different types of people, dressed in different ways. I want to see how your staff treats them, how they evaluate them as potential customers. Patricia felt her stomach tighten. This was exactly what she feared. If Marcus treated these test customers the way he treated regular customers, there would be trouble. Big trouble. When will this testing happen? Patricia asked. Starting tomorrow, Amara said. Your staff will not know when or who. That is the point. I want to see their natural behavior. Patricia nodded slowly. She understood. This was a fair way to evaluate service, but she was terrified of what it would reveal. The rest of the day passed slowly. Amara spent time in Patricia's office reviewing files. She looked at sales reports. She looked at customer data. She looked at employee records. She was thorough. Marcus tried to work, but he kept glancing at Patricia's office. What were they talking about in there? Were they talking about him? He felt paranoid. At 3 o'clock, Amara came out of the office. She walked through the bank observing the operations. She watched how tellers helped customers. She watched how relationship managers interacted with clients. She took notes on a small tablet. She stopped near Marcus's desk. A middle-aged man in a suit was sitting with Marcus. They were discussing a business loan. Marcus was attentive and helpful. He was professional. He was doing everything right. Amara watched for a few minutes. Then she moved on. Marcus noticed her watching. He made sure to be extra polite to his client. Extra professional. He wanted to show her that he was good at his job. But Amara knew something Marcus did not. She knew that Marcus only acted this way with certain types of customers. Customers who looked wealthy. Customers who fit his idea of important. She had experienced his other side herself. And she was going to find out how often he showed that other side. At 5 o'clock, the bank closed. Most employees went home. Patricia stayed late with Amara. They continued reviewing documents. They discussed plans for the rest of the week. Marcus left as soon as he could. He went to his car. He sat in the driver's seat for several minutes before starting the engine. He felt sick. He felt scared. His whole career might be over. He thought about apologizing to Amara. But when? How? Should he do it privately or publicly? Should he do it now or wait? He did not know what to do. Marcus drove home. He could not eat dinner. He just sat in his apartment thinking. He had worked so hard to get where he was. He had built a successful career. And now it might all fall apart because of one mistake. But deep down, Marcus knew it was not just one mistake. It was years of mistakes, years of judging people, years of treating customers differently based on how they looked. This was not bad luck. This was consequences. That night, Marcus barely slept. He kept replaying the moment when Amara walked into the bank. The shock on his face, the recognition in her eyes. She knew everything, and now she had power over him. Thursday morning came. Marcus dragged himself to work. He looked tired. He looked stressed. Other employees noticed, but no one said anything. Everyone was focused on their own interviews with the regional manager. Amara arrived at 9 o'clock. She wore a different suit today. Dark blue, professional and sharp. She carried her tablet and briefcase. She looked ready for business. She spent the morning reviewing more files in Patricia's office. At 10 o'clock, her first employee interview began. She called Sarah Kim into the office. Marcus watched Sarah walk into the office. His own interview was scheduled for 2 o'clock this afternoon. He had 4 hours to wait, 4 hours to worry about what Amara would say to him. James Park had his interview at 11:30. He went into Patricia's office. Amara was sitting at the desk. Patricia was not there. This was a private conversation. Please sit down, Mr. Park, Amma. Marcus sat down in the chair across from the desk. Amara sat in Patricia's chair. She placed a thick folder on the desk between them. Marcus stared at that folder. What was inside it? For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence felt heavy. Marcus wanted to apologize, but the words stuck in his throat. Amara looked at him calmly. Her expression gave nothing away. Finally, Amara spoke. Mr. Chen, do you remember me? There it was. The question Marcus had been dreading. He could lie. He could pretend. But what was the point, she knew. They both knew. Yes, Marcus said quietly. His voice was barely above a whisper. I remember. Amara nodded slowly. Good. I'm glad we are starting with honesty. Tell me, do you remember how you treated me? Marcus felt his face grow hot with shame. He looked down at his hands. I was rude to you. I dismissed you. I did not give you the help you asked for. Why? Amara asked. Her voice was not angry. It was calm. But there was steel underneath. Why did you treat me that way? Marcus struggled to find words. How could he explain? How could he justify what he had done? I made assumptions, Marcus said. Based on how you were dressed. Based on your age. I thought you were not a serious customer. I was wrong. You were very wrong, Amara said. But let me ask you something else. Was that the first time you treated a customer that way? Or do you do it often? Marcus felt trapped. If he said it was the first time, she would know he was lying. If he admitted the truth, he was admitting to a pattern of bad behavior. I focus my time on customers who can bring significant business to the bank, Marcus said carefully. That is part of my job. That is not what I asked, Amara said. I asked if you regularly judge customers based on their appearance. If you regularly dismiss people who do not look wealthy enough for your time. Marcus did not answer. He just sat there. Amara opened the folder. She pulled out several papers. These are customer complaints. All from the past year. All about you specifically. Would you like to know what they say? Marcus felt sick. He had known there were complaints. But seeing them all together in a folder was different. It made it real. Amara read from the first paper. Complaint from Jada Wilson, age 24. She says you refused to discuss business banking options with her. You told her to start with a basic account. Even though she had capital to invest, she felt dismissed because of her age and race. Marcus remembered Jada Wilson, young black woman, dressed in casual clothes. He had sent her to a junior employee. He had not thought she was serious about business banking. Amara picked up another paper. Complaint from David Nguyen, age 62. Recent immigrant. He wanted to discuss a loan for his small restaurant. You told him his English was not good enough to handle a business account. He went to another bank. His restaurant is now very successful. Marcus vaguely remembered that one too. The man had been hard to understand. Marcus had gotten impatient. Should I continue? Amara asked. I have 7 more complaints here. All similar. All describing the same behavior pattern. You judge people quickly. You make assumptions. You dismiss anyone who does not fit your idea of a valuable customer. I have excellent sales numbers, Marcus said defensively. I bring in more business than anyone else in this branch. Do you? Amara asked. She pulled out more papers. Let me show you something interesting. These are records of potential customers who came to this branch and then opened accounts at other banks. Customers who tried to do business here but felt unwelcome. She spread the papers across the desk. There were dozens of them. Many of these people specifically asked for you by name, Amara continued. Because you are a senior relationship manager. Because you are supposed to handle business accounts. But you turned them away, and now they do business with our competitors. Marcus looked at the papers. He saw names. He saw amounts. Large amounts. Money that could have been his commission. Business that could have been his. But he had lost it all because he judged too quickly. This person, Amara pointed to one name, now has $3 million in accounts at Metro Bank. This person has 2 businesses and a commercial property loan at City National. This person opened a business that now employs 50 people. All of them bank at our competitor because you sent them away. Marcus felt like he had been punched in the stomach. $3 million. He had turned away someone worth $3 million? So let me correct something you said, Amara continued. You do not have excellent sales numbers. You have decent numbers from the limited pool of customers you choose to help. But you are losing millions in potential business because of your prejudice. The word prejudice hit Marcus hard. He had never thought of himself as prejudiced. He just thought he was being practical, efficient with his time, but hearing it said out loud made him realize what he had really been doing. I also want to show you something else, Amara said. She pulled out her phone. She tapped a few times. Then she turned the screen toward Marcus. It was a video, security camera footage from inside the bank. Marcus saw himself at his desk. He saw a young Latino man approaching. The man looked nervous. He was dressed in work clothes. Paint splattered. Marcus watched himself barely look up. He watched himself wave the young man away without really listening. He watched the young man's face fall. The disappointment. The hurt. That young man's name is Carlos Martinez, Amara said. He is a painter. He wanted to open a business account because he was expanding his painting company. You sent him away without even asking what he needed. He went to Western Bank instead. His company is now worth over $1 million. He has 12 employees. All of them bank at Western. The video kept playing. More examples. More customers dismissed. More opportunities lost. Marcus had to look away. I have been reviewing footage from the past 6 months, Amara said. I have documented 23 instances of you dismissing customers without proper evaluation. 23 opportunities lost. Do you understand what that means for this branch? For the bank?
For your own career?
Marcus finally found his voice. I'm sorry. I made mistakes. I can change. Please give me another chance. Amara leaned back in her chair. She studied Marcus carefully. You say you can change. But why should I believe you? You have been doing this for years. Patricia has talked to you about complaints before. Nothing changed. You just kept doing the same thing. I did not realize how bad it was, Marcus said. I did not see it clearly until now. But I see it now. I understand what I did wrong, do you? Amara asked. Or are you just sorry because you got caught? Are you sorry because the person you dismissed turned out to be your boss? What if I had been just a regular customer? Would you feel sorry then? Marcus did not have a good answer for that. The truth was, he probably would have forgotten about Amara if she had just been a regular customer. He would have moved on with his life. He would have kept treating people the same way. I need to think about something, Amara said. When I walked into this bank last week, I had already decided to take this regional manager position. But I wanted to visit the branches first. I wanted to see how they really operated when no one important was watching. I wanted to see the truth, she paused. You showed me the truth, Mr. Chen. You showed me exactly what kind of culture exists in this branch. A culture where people are judged by their clothes instead of their character, where assumptions matter more than facts, where some customers are valued and others are dismissed. It is not just me, Marcus said, then immediately regretted it. That sounded like he was making excuses. You are right, Amara said. It is not just you, but you are a senior employee. You have influence. You train other employees. You set an example. And the example you set is terrible. Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. He blinked them back. He would not cry, but he felt his entire career crumbling around him. I need you to understand something, Amara said. Her voice became firmer. Banking is not just about money. It is about trust. It is about relationships. It is about serving communities. When you dismiss someone because of how they look, you are not just losing one customer. You are damaging trust in this entire institution. She pointed to the complaints again. Each of these people told their friends and family about their experience. Each of them posted reviews online. Each of them warned others to avoid this bank. You did not just lose their business. You lost the business of everyone they know. Marcus understood now. He had been thinking too small. He had only thought about individual transactions. He had not thought about reputation, about community, about the bigger picture. What happens now? Marcus asked. He was afraid of the answer. Amara gathered the papers back into the folder. That depends on several things. First, I need to complete my investigation. I need to interview more people. I need to review more records. I need to understand the full scope of the problem. And then, Marcus asked, she stood up. The interview was over. You can go back to your desk now. But I want you to think very carefully about what we discussed today. I want you to think about every customer you dismissed, every opportunity you lost, every person you hurt with your assumptions. Marcus stood up slowly. His legs felt weak. He walked to the door. Mr. Chen, Amara said. He turned back. One more. The rest of Thursday passed in a blur for Marcus. He tried to work but could not focus. Every few minutes his mind drifted back to the meeting with Amara. Her words echoed in his head. $2 million. 23 documented incidents. Years of complaints. He looked around the branch. Other employees were working normally. They did not know what had happened in that office. They did not know how much trouble he was in. Amara spent the rest of the day meeting with Patricia. They talked for hours behind closed doors. Marcus could see them through the glass. Patricia looked worried. She kept shaking her head. Sometimes she put her face in her hands. Marcus knew they were talking about him. They were probably talking about the whole branch too. But he was the main problem. He knew that now. At 5 o'clock, the bank closed. Most employees went home. Marcus stayed at his desk. He did not want to leave. Leaving felt like admitting defeat, but staying felt pointless. He had nothing to do. Just sit and worry. You should go home, James said, stopping by Marcus's desk. Get some rest. Marcus looked up at James. Did you tell her? In your interview? James looked uncomfortable. Tell her what? About me. About how I treat customers. James hesitated. He had not told Amara everything, but he had not defended Marcus either. I answered her questions honestly. Marcus nodded slowly. He understood. James had protected himself. Marcus could not blame him for that. Everyone had to look out for themselves. Marcus finally left. He drove home slowly. He felt numb. When he got to his apartment, he just sat on his couch in the dark. He did not turn on the TV. He did not eat dinner. He just sat there thinking, how had he become this person? When did he start judging people so harshly? When did he stop caring about treating everyone with respect? He remembered his first supervisor, Helen Rodriguez. She had taught him that every customer matters. She had taught him to treat everyone the same. When had he forgotten that lesson? Marcus thought about his parents. They had immigrated to this country with nothing. They had worked hard. They had faced discrimination. People had judged them for their accents, for their clothes, for being different. Marcus had always hated when people judged his parents. He had been angry when he saw others treat them badly. So how had he become someone who did the exact same thing to others? The truth was painful. Marcus had wanted so badly to succeed. He had wanted to prove himself. He had wanted to be important. And somewhere along the way, he started believing that helping certain types of people made him more important than helping everyone. Friday morning came. Marcus barely slept. He dragged himself to work. When he arrived, he saw Amara's car already in the parking lot. She had arrived early. Marcus went to his desk. He logged into his computer. But before he could do anything, he saw Amara walk out of Patricia's office. She was carrying a folder and her tablet. She walked straight toward his area of the bank, but she did not stop at his desk. She walked past him to James's desk. Mr. Park, Amara said. Can I speak with you for a moment? James looked surprised. Of course, they walked back to Patricia's office together. Marcus watched them go. What was this about? Had James told Amara something new? Was James in trouble too? 20 minutes later, James came out of the office. He looked thoughtful but not upset. He walked back to his desk. Marcus wanted to ask what happened, but he was afraid to know. Throughout the morning, Amara called several employees into the office. One by one, she spoke with them again. These were second interviews. Follow-up questions. Marcus realized she was building a complete picture of the branch's operations. At 10:30, 3 people entered the bank. They looked like regular customers. One was a young black woman wearing athletic clothes. One was an older Asian man in casual work clothes. One was a white teenager in a hoodie and jeans. Marcus watched them enter. The young woman went to Sarah Kim's desk. The older man went to James's desk. The teenager went to one of the other relationship managers. Marcus suddenly understood. These were test customers. The people Amara had mentioned. She was testing how the branch treated different types of people. He watched carefully. Sarah greeted the young woman warmly. She asked how she could help. She listened to what the woman needed. She treated her with respect. James did the same with the older man. He asked questions. He took notes. He explained different banking options. He was patient and thorough. The other relationship manager helped the teenager professionally. No judgment. No assumptions. Just good service. All 3 test customers left after about 15 minutes. Marcus saw them meet outside the bank. One of them was holding a business card. They talked briefly, then walked away. Marcus realized something. If those test customers had come to his desk, he would have failed. He would have dismissed them just like he dismissed Amara, just like he dismissed so many others. But he also realized something else. His colleagues were doing it right. Sarah, James, the other relationship managers, they treated these test customers properly. They gave them respect. They gave them time. They gave them a chance. Maybe Marcus was the only one with a serious problem. Maybe this was not about the whole branch. Maybe this was about him. At noon, Patricia came out of her office. She looked tired and stressed. She walked to the break room and made coffee. Marcus saw his chance. He followed her. "Patricia," Marcus said quietly. "Can I talk to you?" Patricia looked at him. Her expression was sad, disappointed. "Marcus, I do not think that is a good idea right now." "Please," Marcus said. "I need to know what is going to happen." Patricia sighed. She looked around to make sure no one else was listening. Amara is still conducting her investigation. She has not made final recommendations yet. "But what do you think will happen?" Marcus asked. Patricia looked him in the eyes. "Honestly, I think you are going to lose your job. And I think I might be disciplined too for not addressing this sooner." Marcus felt his heart sink. Hearing it said out loud made it real. "Is there anything I can do?" "You should have thought about that years ago," Patricia said. There was anger in her voice now. "I talked to you about complaints. I warned you to be more careful. But you did not listen. You did not change. And now we are all paying the price." "I am sorry," Marcus said. "Sorry does not fix this," Patricia said. "Sorry does not help the customers you hurt. Sorry does not get back the business you lost." She walked away with her coffee. Marcus stood alone in the break room. He felt more hopeless than ever. The afternoon brought more test customers. A young Latino man in construction clothes, an older black woman with a cane, a middle-aged white man with tattoos and casual clothes. Each one went to a different employee. Each one was treated with respect. Marcus watched it all. He saw how it was supposed to be done. He saw what good customer service looked like. And he felt ashamed that he had not been doing this all along. At 4 o'clock, Amara called Patricia into the office again. This time, 2 other people joined them. Marcus did not recognize them. They wore corporate suits. They carried briefcases. They looked serious. These must be people from the regional office, maybe from corporate headquarters. Marcus felt a new wave of fear. This was getting bigger, more serious. The meeting lasted for 2 hours. The bank closed at 5, but the meeting continued. Employees left for the day. Soon only a few people remained. Marcus stayed at his desk. He wanted to know what was happening. At 6:30, the meeting finally ended. The 2 people from corporate left first. They did not look at Marcus as they walked past. Then Patricia came out. Her eyes were red. She had been crying. Finally, Amara came out. She saw Marcus still sitting at his desk. She walked over to him. "Mr. Chen, you are still here," she said. "I wanted to stay," Marcus said. "I needed to know what happens next." Amara looked at him for a long moment. "Monday morning, there will be another meeting. You need to be here at 8 o'clock. Patricia will be there. I will be there. And representatives from Human Resources will be there." Marcus's stomach dropped. Human Resources. That meant termination. That meant the end. "Am I being fired?" Marcus asked. "That will be decided on Monday," Amara said. "But you should prepare yourself for serious consequences. What you have done is not just bad customer service. It is discrimination. It creates legal liability for the bank. It damages our reputation. It violates our values." "I understand," Marcus said quietly. "Do you?" Amara asked. "Because I am not sure you fully understand the impact of your actions. This is not just about you losing your job. Other employees might face consequences too. Patricia might face consequences. This entire branch might be restructured, all because you could not treat people with basic respect." The weight of that hit Marcus hard. He had not thought about how his actions affected others. He had only thought about himself. Marcus nodded. He understood. There was nothing he could say that would change things now. "Go home, Mr. Chen," Amara said. "Spend the weekend thinking about your career, about your choices, about who you want to be, and be ready for Monday morning." Marcus gathered his things. He left the bank. As he walked to his car, he looked back at the building. He had worked there for 12 years. This might be his last weekend as an employee of First National BA. Marcus walked into Patricia's office at exactly 8 o'clock. The room felt crowded. Patricia sat behind her desk looking exhausted. Amara sat to one side with her tablet and folders. 2 people from Human Resources sat on the other side. A man and a woman, both in their 40s, both wearing serious expressions. There was one empty chair. For Marcus. He sat down. His hands were shaking slightly, so he folded them in his lap. "Good morning, Mr. Chen," the woman from Human Resources said. Her name tag said Karen Walsh. "Thank you for being on time. This meeting is to discuss the findings from Ms. Williams' investigation and to determine appropriate actions going forward. Marcus nodded. He could not trust his voice to speak. Karen opened a folder in front of her. Ms. Williams has completed a comprehensive review of this branch's operations, with particular focus on customer service practices and treatment of potential clients. Her findings are serious and require immediate action. Amara leaned forward. Mr. Chen, I am going to be direct with you. My investigation revealed a pattern of discriminatory behavior on your part. This behavior has existed for years. It has cost the bank significant business. It has damaged our reputation in the community, and it has created potential legal liability. She pulled out papers and spread them on the desk. Marcus recognized them. The complaints, the security footage reports, the lost business records, all the evidence of his failures. I documented 23 instances in just the past 6 months where you dismissed customers based on their appearance. Amara continued. Young people, people of color, people in casual clothing, people with accents. You made immediate judgments about their worth without listening to their needs or evaluating their actual financial situations. Marcus wanted to defend himself, but he had no defense. Everything she said was true. Additionally, Amara said, I found that you influenced other employees to adopt similar practices. You trained new staff members to prioritize certain types of customers over others. You created a culture where appearance mattered more than qualifications. Patricia spoke up, her voice quiet. I also bear responsibility. I received complaints about Marcus's behavior. I spoke to him about it, but I did not take stronger action. I prioritized sales numbers over customer service quality. That was a mistake. Karen from Human Resources made notes. Ms. Donovan, your management of this situation will be addressed separately. Right now we are focused on Mr. Chen. The other person from Human Resources, a man named Robert Torres, opened his own folder. Mr. Chen, the bank takes discrimination very seriously. Our policies are clear. Every customer must be treated with equal respect regardless of their appearance, age, race, or any other factor. Your behavior violated these policies repeatedly. Marcus finally found his voice. I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. Sorry is not enough, Robert said. 3 former customers are considering legal action against the bank because of how you treated them. They claim discrimination. They have documentation. They have witnesses. This could cost the bank millions in settlements and legal fees. Marcus felt sick. He had not known about legal action. This was even worse than he thought. Beyond the legal issues, Amara added, there is the business impact. I calculated the lost revenue from customers you turned away. Over the past 3 years, you personally cost this bank approximately $8 million in lost deposits, loans, and other services. $8 million. The number was staggering. Marcus could barely comprehend it. $8 million that went to our competitors, Amara continued. $8 million that could have been revenue for this bank. Could have been commissions for you and your colleagues. Could have been bonuses for this branch. All lost because you judged people by their clothes instead of their potential. Patricia put her head in her hands. She had not known the number was that high. Given the severity of these findings, Karen said, we have 3 options. First, immediate termination with cause. Second, suspension pending further investigation. Third, a formal performance improvement plan with strict monitoring. Marcus's heart raced. 3 options. None of them good. But termination was the worst. That would end his career in banking. Other banks would ask why he was fired. He would have to tell them. No one would hire him after that. What do you recommend? Marcus asked Amara. Amara looked at him steadily. Honestly, I think termination is appropriate. Your behavior was not a single mistake. It was a pattern that lasted years. You ignored warnings. You influenced others negatively. You cost the bank millions. And most importantly, you hurt real people. She pulled out one more paper. This is an email I received over the weekend. From Jada Wilson, the young woman you dismissed last year. She wrote to tell me about her experience. Do you want to know what she said? Marcus did not want to know, but he nodded anyway. Amara read from the email. She said that when you dismissed her, it crushed her confidence. She had been so excited about starting her business. She had saved money for years. She had a solid business plan. But when you judged her based on her age and appearance, she started doubting herself. She wondered if she was really ready. If she was really good enough. Amara looked up from the paper. She almost gave up on her dream because of you, Mr. Chen. But she did not give up. She went to another bank. She opened her business. And now she is successful. No thanks to you. Despite you. Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. He had done that. He had almost destroyed someone's dream, someone's confidence, someone's future. That is why I recommend termination, Amara said.
Because you did not just lose the bank money.
You hurt people, real people with real dreams, and I cannot let that continue. Patricia spoke quietly. I agree with Ms. Williams. As much as it pains me to say it, I think Marcus needs to be terminated. For the good of the bank and for the community we serve. Karen and Robert looked at each other. They seemed to have a silent conversation. Then Robert spoke. Mr. Chen, the decision has been made. Your employment with First National Bank is terminated effective immediately. You will receive 2 weeks of severance pay as outlined in your employment contract. You will be escorted to gather your personal belongings. Your access to all bank systems will be revoked within the hour. There it was. The words Marcus had been dreading. Terminated. Fired. His career was over. Additionally, Karen said, you will be required to sign a separation agreement. This agreement includes a non-compete clause preventing you from working at competing banks in this region for 1 year. It also includes a non-disparagement clause. Marcus barely heard the details. His mind was reeling. 12 years of work, gone. His reputation, destroyed. His future, uncertain. Do you have any questions? Robert asked. Marcus shook his head. What questions could he possibly have? It was over. Then this meeting is concluded, Karen said. Please come with me to gather your belongings. Marcus stood up. His legs felt weak. As he walked to the door, he looked back at Amara. She met his eyes. Her expression was not triumphant. It was not even angry. It was just sad. Disappointed, Mr. Chen, Amara said. I hope you learn from this. I hope you understand why this happened. And I hope you become a better person. Marcus nodded. He could not speak. He followed Karen out of the office. The bank was not open yet. Most employees had not arrived. That was probably intentional. The bank did not want everyone to see Marcus being fired. But James was there. And Sarah. They watched as Marcus walked to his desk with Karen following him. Marcus gathered his personal items. A few photos, some pens, a coffee mug. 12 years reduced to a small box of belongings. James came over. Marcus, what is happening? James asked, though he probably already knew. I am being let go, Marcus said quietly. I made too many mistakes. James did not know what to say. I am sorry. Marcus looked at his former colleague. No, do not be sorry. I earned this. You tried to be better than me. Keep being better. Sarah watched from her desk. She felt sad even though she knew Marcus had done wrong things. It was always sad to see someone lose their job. Marcus finished packing his box. Karen walked him to the exit. As they reached the door, Amara came out of the office. She walked over to Marcus. Mr. Chen, wait a moment, she said. Karen stepped back to give them space. Marcus looked at Amara. He did not know what else she could possibly say to him. I want you to understand something, Amara said. I did not do this to punish you. I did not do this because of personal feelings about how you treated me. I did this because it was necessary. Because discrimination has no place in banking. Because every customer deserves respect. I understand, Marcus said. I hope you do, Amara replied. Because you have talent. You are good at building relationships when you choose to. You understand banking, but you let your prejudices destroy your career. Do not let them destroy your future, too. Thank you, Marcus said. He meant it. One more thing, Amara said. If you want to work in banking again someday, you need to change. Really change. Not just because you got caught. Not just because there were consequences. But because it is the right thing to do. Treat people with respect. All people. That is not just good business. It is basic humanity. Marcus nodded. He understood. Maybe for the first time he really understood. He walked out of the bank. The morning sun was bright. The parking lot was... 6 months had passed since Marcus Chen left First National Bank. 6 months of reflection. 6 months of change. 6 months of trying to become a better person. The first few weeks after his termination had been dark. Marcus struggled with depression. He was angry at himself. He was ashamed of what he had done. He did not leave his apartment for days at a time, but slowly Marcus started to face his mistakes. He read books about unconscious bias. He took online courses about cultural sensitivity. He volunteered at a community center that helped immigrants start small businesses. He did the work of changing himself from the inside. It was not easy. Sometimes Marcus caught himself making the same old judgments, but now he stopped himself. He questioned his assumptions. He challenged his first impressions. He forced himself to see people differently. Meanwhile, First National Bank's downtown branch was transforming. Amara Williams had implemented sweeping changes. Every employee went through intensive training, not just once, but ongoing monthly sessions. The training covered unconscious bias, cultural awareness, and inclusive customer service. Employees learned to recognize their own prejudices. They learned to question their assumptions. They learned that good customer service meant treating everyone with equal respect. James Park had been promoted to senior relationship manager. He took Marcus's position but approached it completely differently. James welcomed every customer warmly. He listened carefully to their needs. He evaluated them based on their financial qualifications, not their appearance. Sarah Kim had also been promoted. She was now a full relationship manager. She remembered how nervous she had been when Marcus trained her. She remembered his teachings about prioritizing certain customers. She was grateful she had not fully adopted those methods. Patricia Donovan remained as branch manager, but she had changed too. She attended the same training as her staff. She learned about her own failures in addressing Marcus's behavior earlier. She vowed to be more vigilant, more courageous in confronting problems. The branch implemented new procedures for evaluating customers. Employees were required to have meaningful conversations with everyone who requested services. They had to document their assessments, and those assessments were reviewed regularly by management. The branch also launched community outreach programs. They held financial literacy workshops in different languages. They attended small business fairs in diverse neighborhoods. They partnered with immigrant support organizations. They made themselves accessible to everyone. The results were remarkable. Within 3 months, the branch's customer satisfaction scores had improved dramatically. Complaints dropped to nearly zero, and surprisingly to some, sales numbers actually increased. It turned out that treating everyone with respect was good for business. The customers that Marcus had dismissed, the ones he thought were not worth his time, many of them were actually excellent banking clients. They just needed someone to give them a chance. Young entrepreneurs opened business accounts and grew successful companies. Immigrant families started small and gradually built substantial wealth. College students who were treated well returned after graduation with good jobs and real banking needs. The branch became known in the community as a welcoming place. A place where anyone could get help. A place where people were valued. Word spread. New customers came. Business grew. Amara visited the branch regularly. She was pleased with the progress. But she never forgot what led to these changes. She never forgot the discrimination that had existed. She made sure everyone else remembered too, not to shame them, but to ensure they never went back to the old ways. One Tuesday afternoon, a young black woman walked into the bank. She wore business casual clothing and carried a professional bag. She looked around, seeming slightly nervous. James Park noticed her and walked over with a welcoming smile. "Good afternoon. I'm James Park, one of the relationship managers. How can I help you today?" The young woman smiled back. "My name is Jada Wilson. I have an account at Metro Bank, but I'm considering moving my business here. I've heard good things about how this branch treats customers now." James recognized the name immediately. Jada Wilson. She was one of the customers Marcus had dismissed. One of the people who had filed a complaint. One of the people Amara had mentioned in Marcus's termination meeting. "Ms. Wilson, please have a seat," James said, gesturing to his desk. "I would be honored to discuss your banking needs." They talked for over an hour. Jada explained how her business had grown. She now had 3 employees and was expanding. She needed more sophisticated banking services. She needed a bank she could trust. "I have to be honest," Jada said. "I had a bad experience here last year. An employee dismissed me without even listening to what I needed. I felt discriminated against." "I know," James said gently. "I'm aware of what happened. That employee is no longer with the bank, and we have made significant changes to ensure that never happens again to anyone." "I've heard about the changes," Jada said. "That's why I'm here. I want to give this branch another chance." James worked with Jada to set up new accounts for her business. He listened carefully to her needs. He explained different options. He treated her with the respect she deserved from the beginning. When Jada left the bank that day, she felt good about her decision. She felt valued. She felt respected. She felt like her business mattered. James immediately sent a report to Amara about the meeting. Jada Wilson, a customer who was previously dismissed, returned to the bank today and opened business accounts. She specifically mentioned that she heard about our changes and wanted to give us another chance. Amara read the message and smiled. This was what success looked like. Not just better numbers, but restored trust. Not just more business, but actual justice for those who had been wronged. In the following months, more former customers returned. David Nguyen, the immigrant who had been told his English was not good enough, came back. His restaurant was thriving and he needed a larger business loan. The bank helped him. Carlos Martinez, the painter Marcus had dismissed, heard about the changes from friends. He came in to discuss expanding his banking relationship. The branch welcomed him. One by one, people who had been hurt by the old culture returned. They brought their business. They brought their trust. They brought their community connections. The branch continued to grow and thrive. Amara expanded the successful programs from this branch to all 15 branches in her region. Mandatory training, new evaluation procedures, community outreach. Within a year, all 15 branches showed improvement in customer satisfaction and community engagement. The bank's corporate leadership took notice. Amara's approach became a model for the entire company. Other regions adopted similar programs. The culture of the whole organization began to shift. On a warm spring afternoon, nearly 8 months after his termination, Marcus Chen sat in a coffee shop near his apartment. He was reading a book about restorative justice when someone approached his table. "Marcus?" He looked up. It was James Park. "James," Marcus said, surprised. "What are you doing here?" "I live nearby now," James said. "I moved a few months ago. May I sit?" Marcus gestured to the empty chair. James sat down. "How are you?" James asked. Marcus considered the question. "Honestly, I'm doing better than I was. I've been working on myself, learning, growing, trying to become the person I should have been all along." James nodded. "I'm glad to hear that. I know what happened was difficult. It was necessary," Marcus said. "I deserved it. I hurt people, James, so many people. I'm still processing the full impact of what I did." "Are you working?" James asked. "Not in banking," Marcus said. "I'm not ready for that yet. I've been doing some volunteer work, helping people in the community. It's been good for me, helping others without any benefit to myself. It's teaching me things I should have learned long ago." James smiled. "That sounds healthy." They talked for a while about what had happened at the bank. James shared how much things had changed, how the culture was completely different, how everyone was thriving under the new approach. "Jada Wilson came back," James said, "and David Nguyen, and Carlos Martinez, all the people whose names I remember from Amara's reports. They gave us another chance." Marcus felt emotion rise in his chest. "I'm glad. They deserved better treatment from the start. I'm glad they finally got it. The branch is doing really well," James continued. "Our numbers are better than ever. Customer satisfaction is high. Employee morale is strong. It turns out that treating everyone with respect is actually good for business. Who knew?" Marcus laughed bitterly. "I should have known. We were all taught that. I just forgot, or chose to ignore it." Before James left, he said something that surprised Marcus. "You know, I've been thinking, what happened to you changed me too. I realized I was complicit. I saw your behavior and said nothing. I didn't speak up. I protected myself instead of protecting customers. I carry some responsibility for what happened. Fear is not an excuse," James said. "I learned that from all this. When we see something wrong, we have to speak up. No matter what. That's the only way things change." After James left, Marcus sat alone with his coffee. He thought about the past 8 months. The pain, the growth, the learning. He was not the same person who had dismissed Amara Williams in a hoodie. He was different now. Better. More.